Most people think that fear means danger, but fear isn't warning you about the unknown. It's warning you about who you think you are. For years, fear held me back until I realized something that changed everything. Maybe you felt this too. That feeling just before something's about to happen. The vibrations, the tingles, the drop, or the silence. And suddenly, everything in you just tightens. Or there's that quick reaction, that bodily reaction, your mind reacting to these new experiences, and your focus is enhanced, and you quickly lose the state, the calm, relaxed state that you just had, and it just ruins the whole experience for you. I want you to know that this isn't because of danger. This is because something inside of you knows that something real is about to happen. Fear didn't show me danger. Fear showed me the moment that I was about to meet myself. What I learned from my experiences is that fear is human. It feels physical. It feels real. But the source of it is actually your grasp of your identity. It's your holding on to what you think is real. It's your holding on to what you've always believed to be true. And it doesn't have to be just before you exit the body in an out of body experience, or it doesn't have to just be in sleep paralysis. Fear in general tends to come the moment you're about to approach a threshold in your life, or there's a scenario that's about to unfold, even in your everyday life, where you become anxious and that fear spikes. For me, it's right in my chest. It's a feeling of anxiety right in my chest, like a bubbling. And what that is a protective mechanism of your body and your ego trying to keep you safe and trying to secure you. It's like it's reacting because it thinks you're about to die, or it puts you in a fight or flight mode because it's something that it's a scenario that you're about to experience and it just wants to protect you. But in all of these moments, no matter how they unfold, it's not that it's danger. Every experience of this kind is an expansion. Every scenario that you are about to uncover when you're at that threshold, when fear appears, is an expansion of your experience. It's an expansion of your awareness. You're about to learn something that you didn't know before. You're about to step outside of your comfort zone. So if you start to look at fear in this way and accept it and know that it's a normal part of being human, then you can start to look at it a bit differently. Fear will always arise. It will always come. It's a protective mechanism. And if you become aware of that protective mechanism, you can learn how to not necessarily control it, but accept it and walk with it into the next step, into the next experience, into the opportunity that's about to unfold in front of you, where you can expand. Fear is not a block and it's not an enemy. All it is just the human mind trying to identify. It's your ego trying to identify what is about to happen. It's trying to make sense of what's happening or what's about to happen. And I've said this before, fear is all about control. It's about you trying to control or trying to grasp or trying to cling onto something because you fear. Any type of expansion feels like a threat to the human mind, to your identity, to what you believe that you are. Any type of expansion, any type of stepping outside of your comfort zone feels like a threat, and that will always bring anxiety and fear with it. Every time you step outside, as I said, your awareness grows. And when your awareness grows, your ego becomes threatened. Your body feels threatened. Your mind feels threatened. It's not used to it. It's used to where you've been your whole life. It's used to what comfort zone you've created. Whether it's even moving house or getting a new job, this same energy it manifests. It's the same thing. But when I talk about fear, it is all to do with the threshold that you meet just before you exit the body. However, I'm just trying to make everyone aware that it's the exact same energy in every part of your life, whenever you do even the most normal human things. And what's actually causing this to happen is you tightening, you gripping, you clinging, you trying to control. The moment you feel that energy, the moment you become aware that something is about to happen or something's about to change or a scenario is about to unfold, you instantly, out of habit, tighten. And I don't mean necessarily literally tighten, but your whole energy and your whole self just kind of closes in on itself and tightens, which causes the anxiety and the fear. You're trying to control a scenario that you should surrender to. I've had so many experiences throughout my years of getting into sleep paralysis. And when I started speaking to members of our community, I noticed that everyone goes through the exact same thing. They can have, and I've had, so many scenarios where you get yourself to a certain point, and there's always that one bit where if you just go that little bit further, fear arises and it just stops you. And at that point is where you need to accept and surrender, letting go and trusting yourself and trusting your soul is what will allow fear to turn into trust and allow for an experience to take place. And I really want everyone listening to hear this. When you start to become aware of your fear, the best thing that you can do is use that as an opportunity to notice the scenarios where you're holding on, the scenarios and experiences where you're getting to and you're stopping. If you can start to become aware of the points in which your fear arises and you can start logging them and looking at them, then you will notice a pattern. And you will probably notice that that pattern is always that when things are about to go outside of your comfort zone, the experience stops. And you're always left wondering why. And that's why. It's your body, your mind, your accumulations. It's everything that you've built over the years that is built in to help protect you. But at that point, you need to let go. For me, when I enter sleep paralysis, or when I've entered it in the past, there are things that can happen. There are portals that appear. For me, there's been a wormhole that appears. There's been portals appear in dream states that I've had. Sometimes there's a silence. Sometimes there's a stillness. Sometimes there's waters that appear. All of these are a threshold. All of these are your soul saying to you, can you move to that next step? Can you step through? Can you trust me? If you go through the portal, you won't lose yourself. If you enter the wormhole, you won't lose yourself. If you enter the waters, you won't drown. The mind believes in these scenarios that it's about to lose itself. But actually what happens with trust and surrender is an expansion. Your soul and your awareness knows that it's about to enter its true nature, and you are stopping that from happening because of your fear. I do want to make everyone aware, surrender in some of these scenarios, or perhaps all of these scenarios, especially ones where they're at the final threshold before a big experience. This surrendering feels like death, and it will feel like death, but that won't be a death to the self. You won't be losing yourself. You'll just be becoming more aware of who you really are. You won't be losing your memories. You won't be losing the person who you are. You'll just be gaining more of you. Whether you experience a tunnel or a portal or a wormhole, or even a void, when you enter, you don't come back as someone who is lost. You come back as the same you, with all of your memories and all of your personality traits, but you gain more of you. You gain more of an understanding. You gain more of your true self. And it's not that some of your personality traits before change or disappear. It's just that you, from this new perspective, may want to shed some of those old habits or old perspectives that you carried. So you don't ever lose any of yourself. You become more of your true self. The self that you've always wanted, the self that you've always wanted to become, the self that you've always been. So just to reiterate, fear always equals expansion once you surrender to it, once you accept it, once you understand it, and once you walk with it through the threshold and take it with you as part of yourself. Just like you take every other part of yourself with you, fear's no different. You take that with you as well. It's not danger. It's a transition into yourself. I'm going to share with you 2 moments that I've never shared before that showed me exactly what fear is and what sits behind it. So if you've been following me so far, you know that I can enter out-of-body experiences through sleep paralysis, and it's my preferred method to get into sleep paralysis. I just find it the easiest to do. I'm quite an impatient person, and I don't like sitting for hours trying to listen to beats and wait for my body to get still. but I have done this in the past, and one of my experiences actually happened from doing this. So one of my experiences was I was listening to some binaural beats and I was laying still on my bed and the beats stopped and I was just in a really pleasant, relaxed state of mind. And I almost started to drift off, but I noticed these white specks and white dots, which kind of were forming in my vision while my eyes were closed. But the more I focused on them, the more I thought they looked like stars in a distance. And what happened was I kind of zoomed in to the stars. And I don't know how I did that, but that happened, or they come closer or I zoomed in. And I kind of found myself, or my awareness, I didn't have a physical body. This is just with my eyes closed, looking straight at this kind of imagery that was appearing. I kind of zoomed in and then I was amongst the stars and it actually felt like I was in outer space. But I felt this almost drop, kind of like I was about to drop, and it wasn't a nice feeling. Then suddenly I completely dropped. I started sinking so fast and these stars were going past me so fast and it was like I was just falling into an endless pit. So I kind of opened my eyes and sat up because I was still very awake, but I was kind of in that in-between state of awake and sleeping. But then I thought to myself, there's nowhere I can fall. I'm lying on my bed. Why am I scared for? So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna lay back down. I'm gonna close my eyes, and if that happens again, I'm just gonna go with it. I'm just gonna let go and see what happens because I can't fall anywhere. I'm physically lying down. So I lay down and closed my eyes, and immediately the white speck started coming again, and I moved in, and I was sitting in between these stars, and again I felt a pull, and then a drop, and I completely surrendered and allowed myself to drop. And what happened in that moment was the fear completely turned into a really nice, calming, relaxing kind of, it's hard to explain, but just a state of just acceptance and trust. And I was just falling and it started to feel really nice. And I just started to enjoy the actual falling. I didn't really care what the outcome would be. And I ended up falling feet first into a lucid dream. But this was a really unusual lucid dream. It was a bit more vivid, a bit less foggy, a bit less hazy, and I was a lot more aware than I usually am. And I just was in this kind of room with this huge table kind of thing. It was like a kitchen unit in the middle of the room. And the wall caught my attention because it was very white and very glistening. So I walked over to the wall and I placed my hand on it. And as I placed my hand on the wall, it started kind of pixelating out, and I noticed this. It was like a watery portal, and behind it was this grass and bright green grass and this kind of castle in the distance. There was mountains, and I kind of started to step through it, and I went through it. And as I stepped into it, the whole landscape changed. It was so hyper real, and almost immediately that bit, I don't know if it was my excitement or my curiosity or my maybe fear again, I'm not really sure, but I kind of got pulled back and I woke up. But I want to let you know that at that threshold where that fear spiked, my surrender turned into peace, complete peace, and it was actually really nice to experience. And my second experience was during sleep paralysis. And it was probably the first time that I'd ever experienced almost separating from my body. So I was laying down, I woke up in sleep paralysis, and I was trying to move around in my body and I couldn't. So I just thought, you know what? I'm kind of tired of this. I'm just going to relax. I'm going to lay down. And I felt like I was almost going to sink into my body or sink into the bed as I lay back. So I did that. I lay back and I just relaxed and sank. And all of a sudden I heard this kind of deep, almost demonic voice get louder and louder and louder and kind of shout, "Stop." And that woke me up. And I was really scared. And I thought, there's nothing here. There's nothing to be afraid of. Try it again. So I did manage to get, because this is very rare for me to get into sleep paralysis twice, but I did manage to get into sleep paralysis again, almost straight away. And I lay down, I closed my eyes, I felt the tingling, I felt the vibrations, I got myself into sleep paralysis, and I completely relaxed. And as I completely relaxed, this voice came again, but it was louder, it was deeper, it was scary, and it shouted, "Stop," in my ear. I thought, you know what, I'm going to ignore this and I'm just going to keep relaxing. And then there was this big white flash. Obviously, I didn't know at the time what that flash was. So again, I woke myself up. I was startled and I didn't actually want to go back into sleep paralysis or attempt to go back into sleep paralysis because I was a bit scared. So I left that there. But about a week later, and this is probably the first time I really exited my body properly, got myself into sleep paralysis, and the same thing happened. And I thought, I'm going to accept whatever happens, white flashes, noises, voices, vibrations. I'm going to accept all of it and just sink and relax into my body. And whatever happens, happens. And in that moment, I was sinking. There was no voice. No voice appeared, but the white flash appeared. And as soon as that white flash appeared, there was a peeling sound and feeling. It was like Velcro was being torn apart, and I relaxed and literally peeled out of my body. And that was probably, like I said, my first experience of fully separating my awareness from my physical body. But I want you to know that in those moments, the vibrations were building so heavily. The voice was overwhelming. There was thoughts that, and even when the peeling effect kind of happened, there was thoughts that I was dying. I was literally going to die. But after the surrender, after the acceptance of allowing whatever to unfold, there was a peace again. There was complete peace. And that peace and relaxation and surrender allowed me to separate and exit my body. I want to be clear that I've had sleep paralysis so many times, and fear isn't always as extreme. It isn't always demonic voices and loud vibrations and white flashes. Sometimes fear appeared to me just before my body fell asleep. I used to practice sleep paralysis quite a lot, so sometimes it got a lot for me. It was too much, and sometimes I'd go to sleep and be frightened to go into sleep paralysis, and I'd kind of jolt, and I kept jolting because my body was reacting to me overdoing it. Sometimes I got fear just when there was a tiny vibration in my chest because I knew that something was about to happen, and it wasn't as extreme as, like I said, a voice or a white flash or a dropping through a void. It would just be something simple like tingling or a vibration. I'd get scared because I was doing it quite a lot, and I just didn't feel ready or right in those moments. But it didn't matter how big or small it was. Fear always turned up in the exact same way for me. It was like a stop, don't go any further. And that's the moment, over time, when I realised that fear isn't about the event. It's not about how big or small an experience is about to be or going to be. Fear's about your identity gripping on something. Fear's about you worrying about something that could or could not happen. Fear's about your body and mind reacting to, like I said, an event that doesn't have to be big or small. It doesn't even have to be spiritual. Fear always arises in the exact same way. And maybe your moments don't look like mine. Maybe it's a pressure for you or a sound or tapping or a whisper. But the pattern is always the same for all of us. Fear appears right before expansion. And when I learnt all of this, this was when the kind of next phase of my life started and my spiritual journey started. The breakthrough for me was when I stopped resisting. And I have spoke a lot about my big experience at 21, but I have had smaller experiences after 21 leading up to this year. But these were the experiences, these small experiences that I had between 21 and this year, was me understanding fear deeply. It was like that integration period between 21 and now was me understanding fear. And my understanding was the moment you stop resisting is the moment fear changes to trust. Fear dissolves when it's not fought against. Fear can get flipped into curiosity. It can get flipped into trust. It's just the same energy as all the other energies that you have within you that arise through excitement, through curiosity, through frustration. It's all the same energy, just manifesting in different ways within you. So I learned that as well. Fear can be changed by letting go and by surrendering to it. You can actually change it into trust and curiosity. And that trust replaces the panic. That trust allows your experience to naturally unfold and naturally happen, rather than kind of forcing an experience through fear. You've heard so many stories about people who have bad trips in DMT experiences or mushroom experiences. They're not bad trips. It's always fear. It's always them clinging. It's always their identity battling with the experience. Once you realize you are never in danger, the whole experience changes. Fear is just your identity tightening. It's not reality. There is no fear for your soul. Your soul does not fear. It's fearless. This is why I keep telling everyone to try and be your true self. Try and let go. Try and bring more of your awareness into this space, because you will become fearless. You will become who you truly are. You will become yourself, your true self, and you will be able to experience this reality or this experience or this world, whatever you want to call it, as you fearlessly, just like a child experiences its childhood adventures with its friends, playing out, grazing the knee, falling over a curb, climbing up a tree. It's all fearless because a child is not attached to their identity. A child is not attached. It hasn't developed labels for itself. A child is the purest form of a human because it's the closest to a soul, to its true self. And for a child, without knowing why, it just loves its life and it wants to play. It wants to play for as long as it can, for as long as they can. They don't want to go to bed early. They want to stay out with their friends. They want to explore. They want to go on adventures. Their whole life is excitement. It's an adventure. This is the true state of the soul. The soul has infinity as its playground. The soul is a child in a playground forever. There's no fear there. Human adults and the human adult mind creates the fear because they identify themselves with the labels they've placed upon themselves. So be a child, be your true self. There's a real message that I want to put out about fear, and it's that fear isn't stopping you from remembering who you are. It's not stopping you from your awakening. Fear is the doorway into it. Fear is the last threshold before your expansion. Fear will reveal to you where your identity still clings. Fear is the tension between the human mind and the true self. Fear means you're on the path to remembrance. It's not the obstacle. It's the threshold. And you don't need techniques or rituals. All you need to know and understand is that you need to stop treating fear like an enemy. It's not an enemy. It's not your enemy. You don't need to run. You don't need to fight it. You don't need to try and fix anything. You just need to allow it. You need to accept it as part of yourself, as part of you. And you need to walk with it gently. You need to love it. You need to gently and slowly surrender. People often talk about how fear holds them back. But it's not fear that's holding them back. It's your association, your relationship with fear. It's your clinging that's holding you back. Let fear be. When you allow fear, it transforms. It can't stop you. It can never stop you from doing something, but it tightens you. It makes you control or want to control, but it's something that you can feel. And if it's something you can feel, it's something you can also identify and let go. I still do get moments where this happens. I don't want to act like I'm a guru or I've overcome fear, but I've understood the mechanics of fear and I'm very good at dealing with it now. I've been exactly where you all are now. I've been afraid, but curious. I've been unsure. But the moment I stopped fighting myself, everything opened for me. Fear's not here to stop you. It's here to bring you home. It's here so you can become aware of your true self. And if this has resonated with you, it's because part of you knows that what I'm saying is true. And if you want to go deeper, if you want to join my private group or our community, or have access to my guide and real conversations that we have within the community, everything is linked below, only if it feels right. To everyone who's been a part of my journey from the start, or are just starting to become part of my journey, and now a part of our journey, thank you so much. I appreciate everything. I appreciate all of your comments. I appreciate all of your messages. All I want to do is help. All I want to do is spread this message that you are more than your body. You are fearless. You are powerful. You are love. And most importantly, you are sovereign.